How's it going? We're back here at Mummert Y Block, and just gonna take the time make a video for you guys to actually see an angle milled race head up close. Most people will never get to see one of these heads. They're the rare of the rare, kind of like the old factory Ford race heads. You know, they definitely don't make a lot of these, but they look a lot like a regular head. They have, you know, some basic noticeable features. They have the small spark plug. They do have some extra push rod clearancing. When you angle mill them, they get push rods get tight at the bottom, so we gotta blow that out right there, do a little ball mill radius. Yeah, I told you before in the last video, the intake valve is moved into the center, and then the deck and the flanges are recorrected 1.2 degrees. So the valve angle on this head, I think it's 16.8 degrees instead of 18. But yeah, these things work really good, man. They've made over 600 horsepower. Won at Engine Masters, low 9-second quarter miles, maybe even a little faster in a roadster. But a quick look at the components. You know, we end up using a mixture of some of our favorite Comp and Crowler parts for springs, retainers, and bases. The intake valve is pretty special. This is a valve we had made. It's a hollow stem 197. And it's got just some of our favorite angles, and it's a little steeper. It's got this one has a 47-degree intake seat, and believe it or not, the exhaust ends up just being a high quality version of the stock valve. I guess you don't fix it if it ain't broke. All right, well, I had a few seconds of edit space, so I thought I'd decide to throw something interesting in there. This is the Mastercam file for the angle milled race head. And the blue simulates the head bolts and the push rods. But yeah, it's pretty cool stuff. You can kind of see how close a proximity, you know, the ports and the get to the head bolt and the push rod. And then see kind of how they move, how the upper and the lower port move around on each other. Things get pretty tight, so there's only so much you can do when you're navigating through all these obstacles. So it's amazing that these heads even run as good as they do, because they definitely perform real well. Another thing I was going to show you guys who have an interest in porting and working on your own heads is that the push rod drilling on cylinders 1 and 2 on the left is very different than the push rod drilling on cylinders 3 and 4. And this has to do with the lifter bore locations in the block. So I think you can see, hopefully, that the push rod holes on 3 and 4 are much wider than they are on 1 and 2. So when you do your port work or your development work, one thing to know with a Y block is you always have to develop pairs. Upper and lower you have to develop together on top of each other, because as they move over each other, I've actually run into this myself. I've tried to take a upper I developed from one side of the head and put it on top of a lower I developed from another, and that does not work. You'll find daylight doing that. But you always want to do your R&D on cylinders 1 and 2, because they have the tighter push rods. If you do your development work on 3 and 4 and you start really getting your push rod turns smoothed out, you try to do that on 1 and 2 and you're going to blow holes in the push rod holes. So it's just a fun fact, just another little monkey in the wrench, another little piece of complication when you're porting on one of these Y block heads. So kind of showing you guys up close a set of heads that we have a lot of work in, and have gone out and put a lot of good numbers on the board. So, all right, man, have a good one. Happy Y blocking, and have a good day.